Hey folks, Mac T, and I'm back. This time we're going to cover a little bit on the Herbie's PCM, and I want to tell you what the PCM is, what those connectors control, and we'll go over a little bit on the old PCM versus the new PCM. So first, let's go and check the old PCM out, and then see what the new PCM is like in Herbie and what the differences are. Well, first things first, we want to go ahead and look at these numbers right here. That's right. This is the original PCM that Herbie was built with. And the interesting thing about it is, if we look at it right here, you can see that this PCM has a date of July 8th, 2010. That's right. That's a 2010 PCM, you know, Herbie. Now there's a couple numbers you want to take and make sure you pay attention to when you're replacing a PCM, and this is a long drawn out thing, folks. Nothing is as it seems, but the part number was a BT4A 12A650-EG or whatever that is. Yeah, EG. And then we also had an engineering number is what they called it, and that was the BT4A12B864-DA. Another one we're paying attention to is the EVY6. Now, this PCM was taken out because we were having all sorts of shifts problems, and I want to tell you guys, I'm going to go to Herbie, I'm going to show you what each one of these connectors do, and how we came to determine that this PCM was toast, and we needed to find a new one. And I'll show you what the part numbers for the new one is, so that you can understand that there's a lot that goes into finding a PCM for a car, and some of the trials and tribulations I ran across. Now, as far as some of the things that I was going through to find this PCM, was the fact that when I went to the Tasco or Ford Parts Giant or any of them, and even at the dealerships, they showed well over 100 PCMs. And then when I went to go look up the one that was original, I had to then cross-reference it to another updated PCM, and when I went to that PCM, I then was told that it was discontinued, and then we had to search out the replacement for that and found the replacement. Now here's the whole thing on this, is that to make things worse, I had put a 3.7 into Herbie. So now I'm looking at a PCM that can handle a 3.7 vice a 3.5, and that also meets all the numbers for the original as built, which makes it even harder. Now, to complicate things even more, I did call up a couple notable references that folks gave me on the MACTFORDEDGE Facebook group to call for PCMs. Well, me being an honest guy, I called them up and I told them, hey, I need a PCM, this is the VIN number, and then I told them, well, it doesn't have a 3.7, I need it to be programmed to have the 3.7 in it and all this other stuff, and they in turn absolutely refused to sell me a PCM because I was not a factory setting, and they only go by the book and program to the VIN, and thus they actually almost hung up on me and said, no, we're not going to help you. So you got to be careful when you're doing this, so you have to do a lot more research, and just calling up and saying, hey, program to the VIN and we get you one. And again, they were saying they're remanufactured. I called up a couple other companies, say, hey, can you rebuild my PCM? And they said, oh no, we don't do that. And then some of these PCMs I caught, some of these companies, I wasn't so sure that they were actually remanufactured, but they seemed like they were not Ford Motor Company PCMs, let's put it that way. So I was running across a lot of different roadblocks on the way to doing this, and then I ultimately found the right PCM through Ford, and I had it verified 2 different parts counters. I had one at Ford dealership verify that this new PCM would work, and then I also had a Lincoln dealership verify that the PCM I wanted to buy would work in Herbie. Now let's go check this new PCM out. Now this is the new PCM that I ultimately ended up buying. It is a BT4Z-12A650-BEB, and it has a $150 core charge on her, so you do have to return it in the original box and everything. So let's go out to Herbie and see this new PCM that has been installed. Now, to make things even more interesting, we do have the new PCM installed here, and it is a, like I said, the BT4Z-12A650-BEB. You notice the second number is a BT4A12B8 or 684-DA. So that number does match, but we also have the ZXE1 on here. So this is definitely an updated PCM that was put into old Herbie here. And the thing about this PCM is it will accept programming for not only the 3.5 but also the 3.7 Duratec. So this is sort of a, in a way, a generic PCM that Ford has created for to run both Duratec engines for the 2011 through 2005. Now keep in mind, you do have to have that engineering, the second number match, but you do have to look for the replacement for it if you need to do this. So this may not be a case scenario for you, but if you are doing a swap, you do need to pay attention to what PCM you're looking for if you are tossing a 3.7 in a vehicle like the Ford Edge that came originally with a 3.5, and then you want to bump up to a 3.7 as I have done here. Now, we were having problems with Herbie, and Herbie had hard shifts way before the engine failed. So since we replaced the transmission and the engine and nearly every part in this engine, we had one thing. So I called the owner up that owned it, and he confirmed that Herbie was having these hard shifts before this engine failed. And we were having hard shifts with Herbie, and we were beating our heads literally against the wall trying to figure out why was it having hard shifts. We thought transmission fluid, we thought everything, and then we started realizing maybe the PCM is the issue, because after all, not only is the PCM operating the engine, but it is also the TCM. That's right. So how can we tell which part of this whole connection thing is the TCM, the PCM, and everything else? So I'm going to show you here in layman's terms exactly what controls what for each plug. Now the first plug from the left to the right, we're going to start with this one right here. Now if you follow this one down and around, it comes up underneath the radiator, goes all the way back down and around, and then it goes right here, and it plugs in and gets power from the battery, goes through the junction box, and it provides the PCM with power. So this is essentially your power, and it gets power and distributes it through the circuits and everything else, signal wires, all that good stuff. The next one, the middle one, let's follow this one around. It goes around and it controls all your engine sensors. That's right, your oxygen, your throttle body. It controls every sensor in the operation of the engine. So this is one that controls the engine. Now we go to this one. This is the TCM plug. We follow this along and it goes down. And yes, it does go down around here to the alternator, but it also goes down and it plugs right into the transmission. That's right. So the TCM will control that part of it. So this is the actual TCM plug, and this is where we were having problems. We were trying to program it, we were trying to do it, it would not take the programming. Every time we took and had this thing programmed, we would drive it and it would say it took it, and then the minute we turned the keys off, it would lose the programming and go right back into learn mode. And then when if it started learning, then eventually when you turned the car off, it would restart the learn mode every time. And it never learned, is what it came down to. So we had real consistent hard shifts, and we're having hard shifts basically when downshifting and then giving it throttle. It would have hard upshifts trying to shift and find its gears in about second and third gear every time. And then when we went to pass, when we were in sixth gear, when you went to go wide open throttle to pass a car at highway speeds, it would have a really hard shift down from fifth to sixth. So it was pretty consistent in that manner, and we just never had a, could never figure it out until I called the owner, and he confirmed that yes, it had the hard shifts before the engine blew. So we went and ordered the PCM, and we got the new PCM in and got it all figured out. And thus, as you saw in the previous video, Herbie is now running. We also had some misfires, so we might have a bleed off from the TCM and damage to the PCM, because we're getting really random misfires on the engine. But we're only talking, I think, 11 to 22 misfires over about 200 miles of driving. So we had a little bit of an issue there too, and by replacing the PCM, the misfires have went away, that I can tell, and the shifting is beautiful, and the engine actually seems to have more power because the Lincoln dealer programmed it to a 3.7 with the transmission shift strategies and everything else. And right now Herbie is fantastic. So that was pretty much it in a nutshell, folks. It's fixed. We're having a great time with Herbie now. I'm getting ready to do thousands of miles on it for test runs. I've checked all the fluids and everything else, so we are getting ready to run Herbie through his paces and make sure that he is a fine running engine. Well, folks, like I said before, stand by. I'm going to go ahead and tear this open and look for any physical damage that may have been related to this one and this one. Pull the circuits out, check them out, try to find anything that would be damaged and smell or anything like that that would indicate why this failed. I may or may not be able to find anything, but who knows? We'll find out. But I did pay the $150 core charge here to keep this so I could do a video on it. So hopefully y'all like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and maybe even help with the super thanks. But we'll have another video on me opening up this old PCM and finding out why it failed. Folks, it's MACT. Remember, like, subscribe, join, all that good stuff. MACTFORDEDGE on Facebook, and also MACTFORDEDGE on MeWe. That's right, MeWe seems to be growing more and more and getting more activity. That is a great place to go because the file section on MeWe is so much better than Facebook. Very organized and definitely a lot of help. Also, don't forget to go to MACTgarage.com for all your Ford Edge information, documents, manuals, parts, everything you could imagine is on there to help you determine what you need for your Ford Edge. And hey, we're all here to help. And hey, my feet hit the floor today. I'm having a great day. I want you to have a great day too. Mercy Girl always has a couple of one-liners, and Band of One always playing some great music.
Thank you for watching MACT's videos, and remember to like and subscribe. This is a Mercy Girl production.